Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Helck episode 22, I believe. Let me double check that, but yeah, I think this is episode 22. Yep. We are nearing the end. With every episode, you can now finally fully feel it, that we are nearing something big. We are nearing the finale. It's still quite impossible to predict what exactly it's going to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, we are very much nearing whatever it is that's going to happen. The obvious answer would of course be that the finale will be the battle with the humans, and perhaps getting rid of the human king and winning the war that way. But we know that it's probably not that simple. It's probably not that easy. Even if that is actually the finale, which would be fitting, absolutely, it will not end the story. I'd even argue that it would not bring the story even a little bit closer to completion, and the batteries are already dead. Yeah, or is the case of nope, turning it off and on doesn't do anything. I guess the batteries are just, oh well. I'm gonna let them run out completely then. That didn't last long. So what happened in previous episode? In episode number 21. That episode was entirely from the perspective of the demons, right? We had the battle of one of the demon strongholds. A lot of humans, heroes arrived there and started conquering that, tried to conquer that with some modicum of success, admittedly, until Azadra arrived. Azadra arrived and laid waste to the ranks. During that skirmish, the humans did admit, or did proclaim at least, that they can summon monsters and even New World life forms with the magic that one of them can use, which we will go back to later, which we do go back to later actually. In the meantime, using the fact that a lot of demons are tied into that fight. Who was it? What's his face? Not Rafaed, not Edil, Mikaros. Mikaros infiltrated one of the strongholds, the one that has some sort of a shield crystal inside of it, barrier crystal, and wants to use that crystal to probably open a portal to the capital, like he did with one other demon fortress early on in the season. And he gets into a fight with Hura. Hura can stand her ground, although not for long. Mikaros eventually overpowers her and goes past her, and Edil chimes in. Edil wants to fight Hura, so Edil is fighting Hura right now. We don't know how that goes because we follow Mikaros, who goes towards the main chamber. In that main chamber, he is ambushed by Azadra, and they fight. Azadra uses his tree magic. Mikaros does the Ooga Booga Black Beam of New World kind of magic. And yeah, they fight. That fight is kind of, I don't want to say it's kind of whatever, but it wasn't the main point, I guess you could say. The main point was all the reveals that we got during that combat. We now know that it was indeed Mikaros who killed Demon Lord Thor. It wasn't actually it wasn't actually Kless. We know that Kless and Thor did try to talk about peace. They did try to figure something out. But of course, that wasn't to Mikaros' tastes. We know that Mikaros knows Azadra from way back when he was just a regular soldier, which was, what, thousands of years ago, I think? 1200, something in that ballpark, I believe. I can't remember the exact estimate. And Mikaros has been honing his skills, honing his abilities, which is very interesting because I fully believed him to not be human, to be some sort of a manifestation of human grief or an actual demon from hell or something along those lines. But apparently no, apparently he's just a human with a grudge against Azadra. We know that the fact that Azadra is so long-lived and that Mikaros is so long-lived have probably something to do with the miasma in the demon lands, that it has some different effect on them, while it kills all the other living beings. It makes those two long-lived, and perhaps some other individuals as well. Finally, we also know that it is Mikaros who can summon monsters and New World life forms, and we know that his connection to the New World, whatever that is, I still don't know whether it's a physical place or an alternate plane of existence or a state that the world can be in, or what exactly is the deal there, but we know that Mikaros has strong connection to it. He can use New World magic, summon New World beasts, and wants to bring upon the New World, which, according to Azadra, would require the current world to be destroyed. So that's interesting, and it really shows us that everything goes way beyond the original setup of evil king enslaves people, let's kill the evil king, right? It was easy. It used to be easy. Now it no longer is. Now it's complex, it's complicated, it's trans-dimensional, and what have you. I am both surprised and not at how little of the king there is in this story. It really seems like the main villain right now is Mikaros, and the king is just whatever. He just sits on the throne and yells out orders. He's completely inconsequential right now. I wonder if that is actually the case, and he actually is Mikaros' puppet of some sort, or perhaps after Mikaros is defeated, should he be defeated, because that's not a given, the king will take over, or I don't know, something like that. One of you also, in the comments to one of my previous videos, also got my attention at the fact that Shalami herself, we don't know whether she just doesn't age, or did not enough time pass for her to age, or what's exactly the deal there. It is plausible that the miasma's effect on her is similar to that on Azadra and Mikaros, but when would she experience that miasma, right? That's the question. Unless perhaps the miasma has something to do with heroes, like the New World seems to have to do with heroes, and by being in the proximity of Kless and Helck, she just got immortality. I know, I'm just kind of spitballing here. I'm not entirely sure in the first place whether she actually just didn't age because magic, or did she just not age because anime people don't age until they are like 80. Then you see them suddenly start wrinkling and shrinking down. But yeah, it's something that we might want to pay attention to in the future. What do I expect from today's episode? I don't know. It could be a continuation of the battle of that demon fortress, Hura versus Mikaros, Azadra, Hura versus Mikaros, Hura versus Edil, Azadra versus Mikaros. It could be that, or we could go back to Asta or Ista. One of them, the one who is at the castle with Shalami, maybe Maybe Rafed will spot her and spill some beans. That would be nice. We still have no clue what Rafed's role is in all of it, besides bringing Helck and Kles. But I'd imagine that after finding them, he would just be killed by Mikaros if he wasn't necessary, right? Or turned into a hero, super soldier. So we don't know what's his shtick quite yet. Or maybe we will go back to Helck and Vermilio and continue their journey. Maybe something is still going to happen. Or perhaps we will converge the storylines. Finally, we will just kind of have Helck and Vermilio's travels off screen, and they just arrive at the stronghold. That could work. Episode 22, they arrive. 23, the final clash, whatever that is, begins. 24, the final clash gets resolved, and the second half is the fallout of what happened. I guess that would check out. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Helck surprised me many a time. I wouldn't put it past this show to surprise me again, so how about I just stop talking and we start watching instead, right? To do that, you will need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for your support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube or not. Share my content, spread the word, cost you nothing, helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 22 of Helck in 3, 2, 1, go. And we get a recap anyway, as always. Yep. Yeah, I wonder if we start there. Also, I wonder if we can hope for future seasons. I hope this show has good reception in Japan and that it will actually get further seasons. Then again, a show doesn't necessarily have to have good reception to get future seasons. I mean, let's take a look at Arifureta, right? They made second season somehow, and I heard rumors of a third season also being in the works. I don't know. Would be cool. I really, really did enjoy Arifureta. If you haven't seen it, I don't have the first season's reaction on my channel, but second season is there. Watch the first season as well. Grit your teeth through the abhorrent CG. It's worth it. I guarantee it's worth it. Okay. Where are we? Spellbreaker. Sounds like a weapon name or a title. Okay, so we are back at the castle then. Even Edil himself is surprised that he managed to touch her. Okay, so they do have some sort of memory of the past, but somehow ignore it? Very interesting take on mind control. It seems like they really remember the past, but they are just changed. They take different lessons from that past and kind of, you know, divergent paths, and they just take the other path, the worst path. Okay. Unexpected, but not unwelcome. I mean, yeah, apparently. Yeah, they really don't behave like you would expect a mind-controlled super mutant soldier to act. Interesting. Yeah, like even forgetting about the actual goal implanted in their heads for a moment. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, is that the Spellbreaker? Can you break the king's hold on his thralls? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sign me the fuck up. Okay. I dig it. I dig it. Well, she's easygoing. Are you? Yeah. For a moment, I actually thought. That's a death flag girl. I hope it's not, but it sounds an awful lot like one. Hmm. Right, I mean, how long can you live in isolation, right? Well, that one's gonna be hard. Eating with class, eating with Helck, that's possible. Class? I mean, maybe there is a chance for him still. He is technically still alive after all. Okay, the music and the happiness really makes me wary. Really makes me wary. Like, I fully expect Raphael to notice them. Damn, girl! Is she also a hero? A natural born? Huh. Healing magic or something? She's the source of the heroification dust! I mean, a medium for it at least. Shit. Okay, now we know why she was kept alive, and now we know why Rafael is so important. He's probably the only one who can, like, placate her and get her to work with the king and Mikaros. Does using this ability make her lose her memories? Yeah, something's really fucky-wacky. Is the king gonna burst out of her chest? Rafael, the Mikaros king? No. I thought it's the class chamber, but no, it seems like the throne room. Yep, that's the throne room. The worst turn you could have taken. Legit. Unless the king is just, empty right now. Oh? He's mind controlling Shalami? Okay, so what kind of influence do you have on the king, Rafael? How can you order him? That's a big sword. Okay, so we have a second source corroborate this story. More like a stalemate, really. Yeah, you didn't even drink any coffee. Okay, I guess he can regenerate even from... Oh, that's the title. Oh, he breaks his hold on them so they turn into the thing they would turn into if the king had no control over them, right? Yeah, he broke the king's control. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. So they are New World humans, essentially. That's a really cool design, by the way. Who said anything about 2? Yeah. Does that include Edil? And the other one, who also came here? No, that other one is at the different castle, right? Haraul and the bunch. I mean, fair, but killing you would still be a disadvantage to the humans, so might as well. With some modicum of success, and where do you recognize them from? Okay, so I guess the spell on Edil wasn't broken. Edil to the rescue. Edil to the rescue. Damn, boy! Okay, that's one of the most interesting things that happened in this episode. Edil's sudden change. Like Edil. Oh, so with enough willpower you can actually resist it. Huh. It was unintentional. You're even kind of pretty. Yeah? Oh, hello, Mikaros. Okay, completely free. I did not have Edil versus Mikaros on my bingo card. Okay, so Alicia and the rest of the bunch can also theoretically be freed. That's not gonna do much, I'm afraid. Ah, fuck. Hura? Hura. Okay, tag team. 2 versus 1. Let's go. Hura and Edil versus Mikaros. I mean, you didn't even finish that spell. How are you so sure? I guess you have to burn him or something for him to die? Jesus Christ, how resilient are you? The king, Mikaros, Rafaed. Although I'm not so sure about him. In the span of a single episode, we got Edil back and lost him again. Then again, he's not dead. His mind is broken and he's transformed. Question is, what becomes of him later? Oh, I guess he's going to fight Azadra. Helck Ex Machina? Please? That would be a really good moment for Helck and Vermilio to have arrived. Please someone stab him in the back. Not him! Yeah, but Azadra is a good guy. He's not gonna sacrifice his soldiers. How, exactly? Put a dead man's switch on himself or something? Helck and Vermilio, sure. Yeah, he kinda got over a good chunk of that. So it's really not gonna be that easy to manipulate him. Or at least it's not gonna be as easy as you think it would be. Sure, Helck will absolutely not want to fight Alicia, at least not to the death, but from Hura we can know that there is a chance to save them, to reverse the mind control. So if Helck learns of it, that's gonna change his outlook a little bit, I think. And has my headset been out of frame this whole time? That's gonna be a bitch to put Photoshop back in for the thumbnail. If you ever wondered why I sometimes move the camera and check so meticulously that I'm all entirely within frame, that's because, well, I get the thumbnail from those frames. So photoshopping this thingamajig back in, not fun or easy. That was a cool episode. Preview, let's not. Well, at least it shows me that the next episode will be Vermilio and Helck, finally. And now, finally, let's watch this episode again. Shall we? Yes, we shall. That's a recap and the opening. This was kind of played for laughs initially, but this is so incredibly significant that they if you have, if your will is strong enough, you can break from under the king's spell. It's not absolute. It's not absolute. So there is still hope for Alicia, for Zelgion, Harol, and I don't remember any other. Well, besides Edil, of course, but right, there is still hope for them. Those who retained their ability to talk and haven't just been turned into generic cookie cutter angels, they can still be saved. Interesting. I guess this was a risky play for Mikaros, because sure, he got really strong soldiers that can scheme, that can use tactics, that can make plans, right? But his control over them wasn't as full, as complete, as strong as over the generic grunts, right? There is some sort of there's a sort of a whatchamacallit, cost to that power. Interesting. Yeah, really losing his control. I really thought all this time that that King's control is absolute. That it like rewires you to, as I said, take like one of the two paths, right? Your past either shapes you into a good person, or the very same past can shape you into a bad person. Like, you know, generally speaking, they were shaped into good people, but the king, while still retaining their past, their history, their memories, and everything else, kind of made them diverge into that bad path. Interesting. Very interesting. And weaker humans who don't have any, you know, any ability to get elevated, right? Regular peasantry and whatnot, they just get turned into generic grunts. Their minds get broken, and they just have no will of their own. But if your mind is strong enough, we have Edil. I am the king. Honestly, I was of two minds here seeing this scene. On one hand, sure, that's an obvious joke. It can't be a reveal as easy as that. On the other, shit, maybe. Maybe she is. Maybe she legit is. It would kind of check out how the king doesn't really speak. It's just a figurehead. And it would explain why she's being kept alive, right? It would explain all those things. Then again, the king was a witness to what happened to Kles, and I don't think Shalami would stand for it, so that theory falls apart. Amazing 2 frames. Yep. Save. And this. Save. Although I probably should turn off the subtitles. How do I hide them? Subtitle visibility off. Print screen. Save. Subtitle visibility on. There we go. That's gonna be a GIF. I wanna see everybody again, like Kles and Helck. Helck, doable. Kles, less so. Then again, if there is hope for the angels, perhaps there's even hope for Kles. Perhaps there's even hope for him. Yeah, this this episode, for like a few moments, right? Edil breaking out from under the king's spell, the breaking out of Shalami, Shalami mentioning that she wants to see Helck, and the fact that Kles is technically still alive, right? All those things kind of compounded and made me feel like there might be still hope, right? Kind of like, I don't know what other series bring up here for the opposite, besides some obscure manga that none of you probably know, or at least not many of you know. I haven't read Berserk. I haven't seen Berserk, besides the first few episodes, I guess, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't continue. Actually, no, I'm not going to be bringing Berserk into it. As I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't speak of it. But there are some stories where you get the feeling that the world is hopeless, and yet the main characters kind of trudge on, right? They continue their journey despite all odds. Kingdoms are falling, people are dying, and they continue their journey. And you see that the world is fucked beyond all recognition, and it cannot be fixed. It cannot get better. But those protagonists of ours just want to get something out of it, at least, right? Help a girl find her lost dog. Maybe that girl will die the next day from smallpox or something, maybe. But for that one moment, they want to bring her a little bit of joy, right? This sort of world that is fucked beyond recognition, fucked beyond repair, but there is still some glimmers of hope to be found. I got kind of the contrary feeling from Helck through this episode, that perhaps there is hope. It's not as hopeless as we initially thought, as I initially thought at least, right? Some people might die. They already have, and they will. Some things might be destroyed beyond repair. Absolutely. But ultimately, there is hope for fixing all of it. There is hope for Kles even. There is hope for Edel still, I would argue. There is hope for Alicia, Harul, Zelgion, and everybody else. There is hope for Shalami. There is even hope for Rafaed. I would even argue there is hope for Azudra. Right? There is still hope that we can win. We as in the side of the demons, the side of the protagonists. Mikaros is mortal, like a fucking cockroach, but mortal. The king, probably mortal as well, but the only reason they keep the king alive and functioning is because he's the only thing, person, creature that has control over the angels. So from purely pragmatic standpoints, for purely pragmatic reasons, and not because the king is unkillable or something, right? So there is hope. If we can kill Mikaros, if we can reverse, or rather, if we can have all the sane angels, sapient, I guess, maybe talking angels, regain control, and then we can go after the king, and we can kill the king, and maybe with the bolsters powers of ours, and maybe with Shalami's power that can spread the power over a large area, we can defeat those monstrosities. And it's gonna take some time to rebuild this world. It's gonna take some time to hunt down all of those monstrosities. But there is that light in the tunnel, right? There is that light. For a good moment, I thought that the situation is unsalvageable, right? When I thought that King dying will make all of those creatures just lose control, I thought, shit, unless they are lying, situation's like fucked. Zelgion, Alicia, everybody will just lose control. They will lose the last of their sanity, and all those other monsters will just start rampaging and destroy the world. There is no way out. But there is. There is a way out. I have hope again. This is cool. I really, really enjoyed this episode for that alone. And yeah, the snow. I initially thought that maybe this is Shalami's power. She can awaken humans on a large area. But no, thankfully not. I was fully expecting Asta to awaken right now. But no, she can use this snow to spread whoever else's powers, right? So if King's power is mind control, then she can spread that mind control and mind control the populace. If Rafaed's power is awakening the humans, Shalami can spread it. If Mikaros's power is summoning monsters, then Shalami can spread it, right? She essentially turns small area or single target spells into huge-ass AoE. That's her skill, that's her ability. Which really makes me believe that she might actually be crucial in unfucking the world. If we can find a spell that can either make humans regain their sanity or just kill those monstrosities, we can use her to undo whatever Rafaed, Mikaros, and the King did. Actually, good thing to note down, I'd say, that Shalami's skill will actually be crucial in unfucking the world. Damn, not much space left for Helck. Shalami's skill can help unfuck the world. And yeah, she forgets. She gets confused, she forgets. Question, is this Rafaed's curse or hex or something put on Shalami that's at play here? Or is it the price for her using her abilities? That's a big question here, right? Yeah, worst possible turn. And it really seems like the King's power is mind control. He didn't ascend the humans. He didn't create the heroes. His power is purely just mind control. And it really seems like everything here is just pieces of a machine, right? Mikaros provides the ascending spell. Shalami can spread it around. The king makes it so that those ascended creatures don't start just rampaging, right? Everybody has a role in this little scheme. This is cool. I really, really, really like it. Very often you see a villain that's just singular. That villain might have some advisors, some generals, etc., etc., but ultimately the villain is singular. There's one specific person who cast a mind control spell over the whole kingdom. There's one specific person who turned everybody in the neighboring kingdom into frogs, right? There's one caster, one specific person. This is a whole ass machine. This required a whole lot of preparation. This entire plan requires all of those people. If Shalami wasn't born with this power, if nobody was born with this power, this plan would not work. It just wouldn't. So it really took the king to be a thing, Shalami to be a thing, Rafaed being willing to cooperate, Mikaros having specific abilities. It took all of that to bring this plan into fruition. This is cool. You should know better than to act out of line. Never use the divine word on Shalami except for when the plan calls for it. You fallen king. This is also really interesting and really plays into my theories that the king is just a fucking nobody. The king is just a puppet. The king is just a tool, a scapegoat at worst. Rafael and Mikaros are the true brains behind this whole operation. The king can use mind control, the what's it called? Divine word. And that's his entire purpose. They need the king exactly for that and only for that. Besides that, he just doesn't fucking matter. If a random street urchin had this power, the king would just be laying in the trash right now and the street urchin would be sitting on the throne. Or Raphael would be sitting on the throne and the street urchin would just be playing with Shalami. Right? The king just doesn't matter that he's a king. Who the fuck cares? He just makes for a good face of the operation, I guess, and besides that, he amounts to just his skill. Nothing else. Cool. Cool shit. I like it. That's a big-ass sword. How can you wield it? Are you a hero as well? The only reason the awakened humans are so docile. Yep, exactly. Although you could stop our army's advance by killing the king, there's nothing you demons can do. It's checkmate. It is checkmate, but I really would say that it's more of a stalemate. Because if the king dies, you're both fucked. It's not that the demons are fucked if the king dies. No, you are as well. Because you have no army to control, and now the entire army just turns against you. Everybody loses. Literally everybody loses. The entire world. Even the nations that are completely, completely not involved in this conflict. They will spread throughout the continent like a plague. Hopefully they will not reach other continents. But yeah, this really is just... This is mad. Mutually assured destruction. Sure, you can destroy us, but by doing so, you will also be destroying yourselves. Huh. This is what they turn into. Really cool design. Amazing. I love it. Hideous leftovers of humans who failed to become proper heroes. Who failed to become proper heroes being the keyword. Does that imply that Alicia, Edil, Zelgion, the hooded one, Harul, are proper heroes? Since Edil didn't turn into this, right? Should have enough power. Yeah, sure. All I need to make my dream of creating the new world come true, that would easily give birth to a legion of troops. So he seeks power. Barrier crystals from the demon castles doesn't seem that way. It's about enough to create a portal between the crystal and the capital, but I don't think it would allow him to open the gates to the new world or whatever he wants to do. So what is the source of power that he's after? Some mythical ruins hidden below the... Oh. Whatever is the source of power that Mikaros needs is in the demon territory, isn't it? That's why he's at war with the demons. That's why he needs the territory. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? It all makes sense. Whatever power source Mikaros needs is in the demon territory. That's why the war. He's not waging war on the demons specifically because he hates demons. Sure, he does. Sure, he does. Absolutely, it's a nice little frosting on the cake. But if it was any other neighbor who had enough power to bring the new world, he would attack them. Absolutely. Interesting. This this episode really changes so much and explains so incredibly much. In that case, I really was afraid that Edil will be turned into a monster now. That Mikaros maybe has seals for the generic grunts, and then every single special soldier like Edil has his own individual seal. Mikaros just breaks it, and Edil turns into a monstrosity. I have to make sure that he survives this. Yeah. Let's work together. Suddenly, Mikaros. You'll have no way to resist the power. Right. His self-control, his own mind is able to resist the spell. If he loses his mind, if he loses control, he will be back under the spell's control. Interesting. I really thought that once the spell is broken, it's just gone. But it seems like Edil, rather than dispelling it, just ignores its effects, basically. Right? His resistance is higher than the power of the spell, essentially. Resisted mind break, yeah, at least partially. This fucking cockroach of a man, I swear. What does it take to kill him? Honestly, at this point, I think just nothing short of fire or fucking know, sulfuric acid bath or something to make sure that not a single fucking cell of his body is alive. It wouldn't surprise me if just one single cell of his being left alive somewhere would be enough for him to regenerate. Actually, that reminds me. There's a cool novel series, Xanth, Xanth, and one of those novels is about a guy who can exactly regenerate from just nothing. He gets eaten by the trolls, and he just, after tens or hundreds of years, just regenerates from their shit because some individual undigested cells of his body were still left over, so he managed to regenerate and revive. Cool story. I have a couple of Xanth tomes. I wonder if it's one of those. Yeah, Xanth is cool. Overwhelming power of the new world. Yeah. Sir Helck will definitely put an end to it. Yeah, I mean, legit, you can count on it. Absolutely. I said some awful things to you before. I really was hoping that Edil will just be a turncoat and he's going to join the demons, or at least join Hura. I was really hoping for that. But apparently he does get consumed by the spell to some degree at least. I'm still unsure whether there's hope for him or not. If he could be, say, beaten into submission and he could build up his mental resistance again to the point of being able to oppose the spell, is that something that could still happen? Because right now he turns into a monster because he lost control. If he regains that control, can he just go back? Does killing the king just undo the spell? Because we know that the regular grunts, when you kill the king, the mind control is undone, so they start rampaging because they are no longer human, they no longer have minds of their own, they are just mindless automatons, flesh golems, basically. Meanwhile, Edil and the rest, there is still their character, their personality, their memories, their history, everything is still there. The mind control spell just controls them. So if you get rid of the spell, do they just not turn into monsters and they are just freed from King's influence? Possible. I'm gonna elect to have hope that Edil can still be saved. And even ended up taking critical damage myself. Not enough. Not enough. You really should have received a little bit more damage. But alas, all this time I really was hoping against all hope, Helck Ex Machina. This would be such an amazing moment for Vermilio to just burn this motherfucker, to ensure that he doesn't resurrect, right? He's in the middle of his monologue, his mind is somewhere else, he's injured, just incinerate the fucker. Right? This moment, I really, when Edil raised the sword, I really was expecting Helck is just gonna burst through the ceiling and stop the blade in midway. Right? There were so many moments that Deus Ex Machina would really be cool. But no. Alas, Azadra is having some trouble. Mikaros is still very much alive. He will become a slave to his own power. Yeah, sure, because he's not going to be able to raise a hand against his friends. Question is, what impact will the news from Hura have on it? Could go either way, honestly. It could either make Helck more willing to fight because, hey, it's not hopeless, there's a chance for my friends, let's restrain them, let's protect them, let's hide them somewhere until they can break the spell or until we can kill the king. Or it could go the completely opposite way, right? Helck was already set his mind on, hey, my friends are dead, they are no longer here, there are just monsters in their place, I'm gonna have to kill them to free my friends' souls, that's the least I can do. He steeled his resolve. But now there's news that, no, actually, they are still there and they can be freed. And that completely shakes his resolve and he's unable to fight them. Entirely possible as well. What an amazing episode. What an amazing episode. Honestly. At the beginning, I talked about how important the previous episode was, right? So many reveals. Little did I know what's gonna happen in episode 22, huh? This is the episode of reveals. This is the episode of big news and big new new facts and everything. Everything in this show really just goes much deeper than you would think. Everything. Right? Like, take the mind control spell. Initially, my belief was that the king, with Kles being a catalyst, just cast an area of effect spell that made everybody turn into monsters and mind controlled them. Right? One single spell or a ritual or something like that was able to accomplish everything. And Kles was very much needed for the process. Then it turns out that no, there are apparently so many moving parts to this whole plan. Shalami was necessary, Kles was necessary, Mikaros was necessary, King was necessary. It was not any singular spell, it was a combination of multiple spells. Does it actually go even deeper? Because I'm wondering, why was Kles needed? If Shalami can take a power and spread it across a wide area, and the king can mind control, and that mind control can be spread around a wide area with Shalami. And assuming Mikaros can bring forth the power of the new world and ascend humans, and that can be spread through Shalami, what's the role of Kles? But I wonder if Kles is the source of the hero powers. Perhaps someone, maybe Rafaed. Maybe Rafaed has the power to transfer powers, for the lack of a better word, right? He uses his power to transfer Kles's heroicness, or copy his heroicness, not heroism, not what I mean, the state of being a hero, can copy it and apply it to someone else. And by applying it to Shalami, Shalami just spread it around. That's why he was needed. But that has me question, why is he still necessary? Why didn't they just torch his corpse and just get rid of him? That's the biggest question so far, isn't it? Kles is the source of hero powers being spread. Not just a catalyst. He's not a part of some ritual that requires a sacrifice of a natural born hero or something like that. No, he is just the source. But that really doesn't answer the question, why is he still kept around? It's not like they are creating new heroes, are they? Every single human was already turned, so there is no need to keep Kles around. Every answer, every theory that could potentially explain things just brings forth more questions. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't. Then, back on the topic of the infinite complexity. Initially, the impression was that, hey, Mikaros is the evil mage who cast the spell, and the king is just he's just the face, he's just a puppet controlled by Mikaros, and Mikaros is evil for the sake of being evil. But then we now get a whole another world being brought into the equation, that Mikaros can tap into its powers, into its energies, and bring it upon the current world. It goes so much deeper. We thought that Mikaros is evil because he wants power, but now we have his backstory with Azedra. We thought that the mind control was absolute, but now we know that if you are strong enough, you can overcome it, and you don't even lose your powers, because those are two separate skills. Those are two separate effects on you. You can get rid of the mind control and keep the hero powers. This show really just grows exponentially, grows in depth. It really grows in depth. And I really will mourn the day we get the final episode of this season. Not because the current story will be over and, oh, I want more episodes because I want to spend more time with Helck. No, I will mourn it because there's not going to be any more world building. It will just stop going in depth because it will just end. I really hope future seasons are going to be made. If not, if like for a year or so I hear nothing about the continuation, I guess I'm just gonna start reading the manga. Because goddamn, such amazing world building, such a good show, such incredible depth to everything. This episode really solidified that feeling that there's something more to this show, right? There's something more to this story, there's something more to this world. It's not just a adventure against the evil king. There is potential to just, I know, make it a weekly series with 297 episodes and 0 fillers. Although I don't think I would mind Helck fillers that much. I know Helck and Vermilio going to another competition, cooking competition. That would be cool. For example, right? Seeing Ajikaba again and how his cooking abilities grew, stuff like that. I wouldn't mind it. I really wouldn't, but it is what it is. We have what we have, and hopefully we will have more in the future. But right now, I think that's gonna be it. I think I said everything I needed to say, but maybe you guys have something more to add, and if so, say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to my Discord, also linked in the description below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future releases of not only Helck, but also Magia Record, Shy, Shangri-La Frontier, Shield Hero, Saihat and a Paladin, plenty of others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon. Down below, for $10 a month, you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Magia Record, and for just $1, you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube itself via memberships, super thanks, stuff like that, also down below. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Netacopus, Virus, Zayrainer, Akamaster, Dr. Watt, Marshiki, Alec, Puzzle, and Hans Peter. And you can join them without having to break from under King's spell.